I wish I could do a black and white film. Voiceover is probably the toughest of all the markets to get into. Everybody wants to do it because it's again 3 to 5 hours work. You can roll in there with your bedroom slippers and robe on if you wanted to. And it's fun. When you do a good theatrical production, sometimes you dream about that 8 o'clock curtain call for 6 months. The ability to be frightening with stillness is what appeals to me. Everybody loves a horror story because it's a roller coaster ride. You wait for the slow ride to the top, then speed down with all the bumps, twists and turns. I've played 4 roles on Star Trek. My favorite episode was The Visitor on Deep Space Nine. True story, when Candyman first came out, my daughter and I were Christmas shopping, and people were harassing us. Finally my daughter puts down her shopping bag and said, "That's not Candyman, that's my dad." I will never forget that, because that's when we really bonded. I hustled my way through college playing pinball. I did a film in Nairobi, Kenya called The Last Elephant, with John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini, and James Earl Jones. So I was in 7th heaven, alright? About a year later I get a call from my agent and he says they want to see you for this project called Candyman. I thought he was joking, so I hung up. My love is the theater. I was raised by my aunt and we bonded over the 8 o'clock movie on TV. We'd watch everything from James Cagney in White Heat to Lon Chaney in The Wolf Man and every Bogart movie. Even if you do a great performance, if you have a weak link in the film, that's all anyone remembers. So I grew up watching film noir, you know, the classic stuff. William Holden, Richard Widmark, Robert Mitchum, all those. I'm just happy that as an African American man, that Candyman has once again been given the nod to enter people's consciousness. All of my contemporaries in LA are all graduates of either Yale, Juilliard, Trinity. The best of the bunch come from that. Actors are a funny lot. Sometimes they're not satisfied with where they are. I include myself. I was going to Hartford High School, and when the theater bug hit, it hit hard and it saved my life. It gave me focus, direction and purpose. There was a period where I did do a lot of television, but the luck of the draw worked in my favor, as they were all shows that were either fan favorites or cultist things. I only do television if it's something really good like 24. When Michael Bay called me, I'd worked with him before on The Rock, and he called me and said, "Tony, I might have something for you." I said, "Okay, you haven't called me in 10 years. He said, "I've been busy." I said, "I've been busy too, Michael. Glad we could make our schedules match." People who come through television, if they don't get distracted, they learn how to shoot fast. They don't get shocked, and if they know how to adjust to that and they think outside the box, then they'll be fine. I think people are getting more and more, unfortunately, inured to violence. People are less sensitive to things they should wake up about. I've worked with directors who have done it too much, particularly in television. You know, "Okay, we got it. Let's move on, next setup. Well, what about, we could maybe investigate. No, let's go." But Hatchet, I only had 1 day on it. You know, 1 scene, which I had fun doing. I enjoyed watching it. I'm also a blues musician, and all blues artists can trace their pain to the slavery fields of the Mississippi Delta. Everything that's worth making has to involve some sort of pain. October's a busy month for me. I usually find myself working, but I also try to do 1 or 2 conventions in that period. Then whatever city I'm in, they want to drag me to their local horror theme park. Thank God for voiceover work. It's not like I wake up every day and say, "You know what, I need to do a horror film." Statistically it's only like 40% of my output, but it's a great ride and the fan base is really dedicated, and that's always cool. When you're lucky enough to be in a good one, it's fantastic. I grew up a single kid, and so my whole childhood was spent in my backyard dealing with imaginary circumstances and role-playing and stuff. With film, sometimes you're thrown in there and you literally hit the ground running, taking your best shot and just leave it up to the editing. I'm ready to go up to the Danny Glover level. Whenever I do something, particularly if it's a cameo, I make sure that I have a backstory written out so that I can talk to the director intelligent and try to communicate a 3-dimensional character. Dwayne Jones is a personal hero of mine. I think you have a responsibility as an artist to continually reach a hand out and try and inspire people. I was a Trekkie growing up. Worth was a script that was sent to me, and I felt it was something different and important to do. Whenever I can make it work out, and schedule permitting, I like to help young filmmakers. I remember my first professional paycheck. I couldn't keep it as a memento because I needed the money, but I have kept some of the residuals that I get. I got one the other day that was for 2 cents. I might put that in a frame. As far as Final Destination and its creator, Jeffrey Reddick, are concerned, whenever Jeffrey calls, because of our friendship, I have to listen. I almost did Doctor Strange. I went in to do a session to play Dormammu. I'm a big fan of advertising during sports events. The black community has always been a fan of horror films, but in terms of the participants, they've been few and far between. I grew up a poor kid to a single mom, so as an African American actor I have a responsibility to hold the mirror up and reflect our stories. I'm living the dream and also escaped the inevitable. When I was a kid I really loved Humphrey Bogart, but when I was in theater school, Robert De Niro was my go-to guy. Yes, I would like to be involved in something that would hopefully be a blockbuster, but I'm interested in seeing new filmmakers telling new stories and to able to help them do that. I grew up on video games. When I was in college, even during snowstorms, would go the half-mile to the drugstore to play Millipede. Dude, I've been a gamer ever since in television. I remember watching Abbott and Costello vs. Frankenstein continuously as a kid and being amazed that my horror legends were making a comedy. I collect Gottlieb games, and I play classic pinball. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.